Puente Genil is a big town located in the province of Córdoba and right in the middle of Andalusia. In fact, to support this claim, we have the bamboo factory that's located here as to be able to allocate as easily as possible their products to the rest of the autonomous community. Puente Genil is famous for a few things like quince jelly. A lot of the quince jelly in Spain comes from here, and also its villa, which is called Fuente Alamo, and some other things which I will actually go outside to show you. As not to say the best for last, we are right now standing before one of the most important landmarks of Puente Genil, the bridge. As you can see, the bridge goes right over the Genil River, hence creating the name of the town. You take the Spanish word for bridge, which is puente, and the name of the river, Genil, and you get Puente Genil. This bridge also signifies, is sort of a metaphor of the union of La Puente de Don Gonzalo, as this was called before, mainland Puente Genil, and Mira Genil. This union also moved the border of the Seville province, which actually was defined by the river back then, to about 5 kilometers away, which is a pretty fun fact. It was built originally in 1561 and it got renovated in 1784 by Leopoldo de Monniers, who was a French architect and student of Eiffel, the same Eiffel that built the Eiffel Tower. And this is why you can see some French architecture throughout the rest of the city. Here, La Alianza. Then was the culprit of Puente Genil being the first town in Spain that had electricity. Barcelona was the first city, and then followed Puente Genil being the first town. As you can see, it's currently being renovated, which is incredible. The municipality has poured 3.8 million in its renovation, and the purpose of this is to rehabilitate all of the building. On the last floor, the bottom floor, has a sort of museum explaining how it made electricity, and you can go there, but the rest of it can't be accessed yet, and that's the purpose of this. So it's amazing to see that it's being renovated. Right now I'm standing on the bridge, and as a little fun fact, it's not rare to see little children feed the ducks below hard bread. Also, now that I'm here, I should mention that this little park over here was also built relatively recently, which is also amazing. Another one of these recent projects is exactly this one. I'm in a park that was made around 2 years ago in Mira Genil. It came as part of an initiative to create more green space in the town, and it came true. It also passes through some old factories, as Puente Genil used to be quite an industrialized town. And you also have that chimney over there that is from a brick factory, as there's a lot of clay in Puente Genil since it's so close to the river. And there is the casino too. It was also recently renovated, and well, it's not a casino anymore, it's more of a restaurant, but it looks outstanding, especially in the night, and it's right in the entrance of Puente Genil. I am now in the old town of Puente Genil, and we are at Los Frailes. It's a church or convent, and see, it's also a museum. It's an archaeological museum, as there are a lot of Roman remains around Puente Genil. We'll discuss that later on. And it's also a Holy Week museum. By the way, right here, there are some extremely long stairs. And I love them. I had to mention them. They're a great landmark. In terms of culture and leisure in the old city, we have the theater. It's not rare to see place here. I wasn't aware of these before, but I just found these lights and I thought it would be an amazing opportunity to talk about Iluminaciones Jimenez. I am unsure of whether they were actually the ones to place these ones specifically, but they are responsible for laying the Christmas lights across a ton of countries and important cities like New York or Moscow. It was born in one of these streets in the 20th century, in the later half. And the story actually goes, there was a man that wanted to make his storefront, his display, stand out. So he created a Christmas light in the shape of a star, and it stuck. And then he kept building more of them, and eventually he came that far to, well, he created a company, and then he started illuminating these cities. And to finish off the city center, I'm here at Nolitos Burger, and I'm not mentioning it because I'm hungry. I'm mentioning it because it's another company that was born here, and it quite recently actually, received an award for best burger in Spain and Europe. Religious tradition is quite important in Puente Genil, but to show that, you may have noticed I've picked a rather peculiar church, and it's sort of the bones, the structure of a church that was once here. By the way, there's a wall, if you can see that, there's a wall, and this wall was built around where the plague was active, and it divided the city between people that were healthy and people that had the plague, as to limit the extent of the harm caused by it. As for ongoing renovations, there's also the one in this street. Earlier this year, that side was renovated. Now it's the turn for this side. And to be honest, a lot of streets in Puente Genil need constant maintenance. And the reason for that is the ground. Since it's so close to the river, it's very clayish and it gets deformed easily, and the roads break apart, so they need to be fixed. Now that I'm here, I wanted to discuss another topic that I just remembered, and another one actually, now that I see this. There's a bus network in Puente Genil, which is quite convenient for elderly people and anyone that doesn't have a car really. And it goes through a lot of the city. It's a great service. Now the thing that I actually wanted to get on is the bike lanes. Right now I'm standing in one of them, and there's a bike lane network around Puente Genil. It's a great addition to improve the safety of cyclists, and the main problem they have is some of them are in not so great condition. You can even see that here. This is the original color, and this is how they look now, from all of the sun hitting it. And I also wish for there to be more. Though I do recognize that there was one recently added in La Cuesta del Molino, which is a good start, but it's still not enough. The network is certainly disconnected still, so they do need to work on that. Here we are in what you could consider the leisure center of Puente Genil. Right there you have the bowling alley. Let me see. The bowling alley is right there, and the cinema. I'm going for you to see there, and you can see the bowling alley over there, and the cinema you can access through that side. And to complement this, we have a McDonald's right over there and a Burger King. So we have fast food establishments and leisure activities. Now, like that's the case, but I find it a bit odd how the leisure center is so far from the actual center of the city. As you can, there is also some big supermarkets and such as Carrefour, Mercadona is over there, and Lidl, and you can see how there's not any housing around. So that's something to improve on as well. I think it would be nice if, well, not the houses getting closer, but the leisure activities getting closer to the houses and the center of the cities. And then
Pero porque has parado.
the town also has sports facilities like the stadium, which is a full-size stadium for football. There's a local football team called Salem, and a municipal house where concerts and parties are held. Yet another reason for why I call this the leisure center of Puente Genil. You can see the bike lane leading up to it too. And a hospital. This is the main square in Puente Genil, right in La Matallana and El Romeral. There's a Fosforito statue, which is a famous singer from Puente Genil, and you can see there La Plaza de Abastos, as it's called. It's a market, and it was renovated recently. It's another one of the projects that I was talking about. Here we are in front of the handball stadium, which is where the official Puente Genil team plays. It's called Ángel Jiménez, and it's a decent team. I think it's fallen off a bit in the last couple of years, but I remember it having won against some of the best teams, not in the world, but in Spain, like Barcelona. And every time there's a match, it creates quite a bit of fuss. Also, here plays the junior team. Well, there are multiple junior teams that are there to recruit more players in the future. And next to these facilities, we have a running track and a field hockey stadium too. There's a field hockey team. Surprising. Now that we're back, I also wanted to mention how important it is that these facilities and teams exist to inspire kids to work out and for them to have someone or something rather to look up to, and adults as well. I also wanted to thank the municipality for making the Andalusian cycling tour go through Puente Genil. I'll be playing a video of that over here for the very same reasons as one of the most important cultural events that I've skipped mentioning until now is the Holy Week, or as it's called in Spanish, La Semana Santa, or locally known as Mananta. It's a bit complicated to explain, so I'll try my best. So first, the date is determined by the first full moon of the spring. And throughout 7 days, a week, that's why it's called the Holy Week, there are around 30 processions in total that parade around. It could be, let's say, 4 a day. Yeah, that makes sense. It could be 4 a day. And each day is supposed to represent what Jesus was doing that day of the week. So the first day he arrives, then he gets crucified, and after 3 days, he revives. Also, before that, there are 7 weeks, I'm not sure, I think it was 7, where something called Los Romanos happens, and it's sort of figures, and they walk around with a band, with a music band, and people love to follow them and drink. And to go with that is La Vieja Cuaresmera, which has 7 legs representing that time until Semana Santa. And if you think it's over, it's still not over. Because you have La Semana Santa Chiquita after that, which is the same thing as Semana Santa, but the processions are smaller. And if you're far away from these time periods, be not afraid, because I don't think you can go 3 months in Puente Genil without a procession. If it's not Holy Week is Corpus Christi or something else. So yeah, together with the Christmas lights, it's the most economically relevant event in Puente Genil. It brings in a lot of outsiders, and you can even see the amount of caravans and buses full of people arriving. Proposal time. For my first proposal, I'm going to say that I wish for there to be more leisure spaces in Puente Genil. Now, we've already discussed there's a theater, there's a bowling alley, and a cinema. You could even count the parks if you liked. But you can tell there's something missing. For this purpose, there could be a mall built, but I have another idea. It's building a karting. Now, I'm not saying that for the sake of saying that or because I like karting, which I do, but because there's already a pretty decent circuit very close to Puente Genil. It's right here. It's this, which is a hydraulics company, and I've seen used for car exhibitions. It's also a good idea because there aren't any kartings in the area. You can see there's a strip of land through Andalusia that has no kartings right where Puente Genil is, and this doesn't count, by the way. This is a remote car circuit. So that's why I think that's a good proposal for bringing in more, well, leisure opportunities and karting fans. For my next proposal, it's such a shame to see how, despite having so many activities and so much relevance, Puente Genil is so poorly advertised. You have Queen's Jelly, the Christmas lights, Nolita's Burger, which was awarded, and the most untapped potential lies in Puente Alamo, the Roman villa, that it's not well known at all. To help with this, I suggest maybe creating a social media account for Puente Genil, or various social media accounts, and maybe placing posters or advertisement on roads. There's not any advertisement of Puente Alamo when passing by, and it's the most important Roman villa maybe in Andalusia. So definitely they need to work on that. For my third proposal, I'm asking for increased security in Puente Genil. I'm saying this because last year there was a bit of a violence outburst. There was running over and a few shootings, and you certainly don't want that in a town that's prospering and wants to expand economically and physically, I guess. To stop this, I suggest increasing presence of police and enforcing the law better. And lastly, I would love to see some of the things that Puente Genil itself proposed being carried out. And now the reason that they haven't is because they didn't receive some funds that they needed for them, so they won't be carried out now, but in theory they are future projects. Now, among these we have the construction of a new highway called Autovía del Olivar, which connects Puente Genil to an already existing highway, and unifying the La Vía Verde, which is a sort of a bike lane that goes beside a road, to Puente Genil and its bike lanes. And that's it. Yeah, that's the whole project finally. Bye.